Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. Today we'll discuss our halacha on this week's parsha, Parshas Nasai. The pasuk speaks about the different avodas that the Kohanim Levim had. Then it says, "V'livnei kahos lo nasan." However, to the sons of Kahos, he did not give this. Ki avodas hakodesh aleim, because they had the avodas hakodesh. Bakosef yiso, they had to carry the avodas hakodesh. They had to carry on their shoulders. Says Rashi, what did they have to carry on their shoulders? Says Rashi, Maser Dvar HaKedusha, the holy objects they had to carry, Ha'orein V'hal Shulchan, Lefichach B'katev Yisrael, because they are holy objects, they have to be carried on the shoulders. It cannot just be placed on the wagons that they're moving everything else with, because it's disrespectful. It's a Masa HaKedusha, Dvar HaKedusha. It has to be carried B'katev. It's actually brought in the name of some Gedolei Yisrael, a nice twist to this pshat, saying that Hayois, that it says that the Orein Hayanoisa Es Noisov, actually the Orein would in return lift up those who carried the Orein. So it would be quite embarrassing if the ones carrying the Orein were just a wagon, or a donkey, or a shur, or ox, carrying the wagon, and the Aron on top of it would be quite embarrassing if the Aron at that time would be Noisa as Noisa. Anyways, but the diak from this Rashi is, the Rashi says that the Katef Yisod did not only apply in the Aron, it applied even on the Shulchan. Even on the Shulchan. Because that's questionable. Some Rishonim say that only the Aron had to be carried by Katef, everything else was able to be carried on a wagon. And another thing is based on the Ravid. The Ravid says perhaps Moshe Rabbeinu measured the Mizbeach to be specific measurement that to be easy enough to carry, because according to the Ravid, even other kelim were also had to be carried physically b'katev on their shoulders to make it easier on them. He didn't want to make it much too big. The concept that the davar shebekadusha has to be carried b'katev on the shoulders and not just on the wagons, it's lacking in an inyan shel kedusha, is brought in the Gemara, and the Gemara says, "Darash Rava mipnei ma nanash David beUzza." Why was David HaMelech punished by Uzzah? Uzzah passed away during the height of David HaMelech's Simcha. It was a punishment for something wrong Kvayachol David HaMelech did. What did David HaMelech do wrong? David HaMelech once described parts of Torah as zmiros, as songs. As the pasuk says, zmiros hoyuli chukecha. Your chukim, your Eibish's commandments are like zmiros. And it seemed Kvayachol as if he cheapened it. Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so the Eibush says to David HaMelech, Lefichach, because you said it in such a simple manner, Hareini machshilcha bedavar, I will stumble you with something. Shafil tinoike shel beis rabam yoyin leisei, something that even the simple kid knows. A simple kid studying in yeshiva knows a level of honor and respect you have to give for a davar shebekadusha. The ksiv, a 5-year-old kid who's learning chumash knows, v'livnei kahos leinasan ki avodas hakodesh aleim. They know that a davar shebekadusha, they learn from the chumash, has to be placed b'katev. And David HaMelech, as he was traveling, he traveled and he placed the aron and the agola, and therefore the Eibusha says this is a stumbling point for the fact that you called chukim zmires, you called chukim an easy thing, a song. My mitzvahs, there's a stickle lack of respect. So therefore, you're going to stumble in a fact of respect for davar shebekadusha that even a 5-year-old kid knows. And the Mefarshim obviously have a discussion. How is it that David HaMelech didn't realize that the aron that he was carrying should be carried in a respectful way, and he put it on an agola? So one of the most common Mefarshim to explain it says that David HaMelech thought that the mitzvah of B'katev Yisrael only applies in the Mishkan and in the Midbar, not necessarily the Aron everywhere else. In the Mishkan, in the Midbar, where there was an Aron and there was the Mishkan, and you had to separate between Kodesh and Kodesh HaKadoshim, so you had to show that by carrying specifically the Aron, and not necessarily everything else. And the time when he was carrying the Aron, then there was no need to separate to show different kedusha. So David HaMelech thought the halacha was that he was able to put the Aron on the Agala, and the Eibishter taught him. And the Eibishter says that's even a thing that a 5-year-old kid, Ben Chamash Lamikra, knows that when you do a mitzvah and Masa Shebekadusha, Davar Shebekadusha, it has to be Bakatav Yisro, it has to be an ultimate respect. Shikoyach.